Our goal is not the victory of might, but the vindication of right. Not peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom here in this hemisphere, and we hope around the world.
I have a dream.
Well, that's where we start when I go into politics.
Continue to be held as hostages in an attempt to force unacceptable demands on our country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. It is increasing inequality and deep divisions among our own people.
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack.
Congress has failed to pass federal hate crimes legislation that protects LGBT Americans from senseless violence.
So let us summon a new spirit of patriotism, of responsibility, where each of us resolves to pitch in and work harder and look after not only ourselves but each other.
Broadcasting live from the MSC Radio Network in the city built on steel, rock and roll, and its fictitious home of Betty White. This is Jousted Out, and I'm your host G. With me is the lovely Judith Findell, my wonderful co-host. How are you, Judith?
Where are we? Who are you?
I know, it's been a while. It is October 10th, 2012, and we are in the thick of the battleground state of Ohio, and President Obama seems to be coming here every other day. Mitt Romney seems to be coming here every other day.
I just found out the other
They're
day.
not, but it seems.
I just found out the other day that this is a national election. It's not just happening here in Ohio.
You would think it's just happening here in Ohio.
Yeah.
I know.
So
but
who knew?
It is interesting because you watch the national shows, and of course, Ohio state reps, folks like Nina Turner and others are on MSNBC all the time. It's
right. We're like, oh well, we live here, so whatever. They're showing the front of the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections. Just walked past there today. It's
a good time though.
It is very cool. It is very cool to be living in Ohio.
The other day, I was President Obama was here in Cleveland at Cleveland State University, and a colleague of mine we were driving in a car, and all of a sudden a cop jumps in front of us, tells us we can't go anywhere, and before we know it, a motorcade is shooting by with the president. And I mean, it's you expect to see that in D.C., but on the side streets of Cleveland,
Ohio, yeah.
There you go.
Right, and it's every other day.
Yeah.
It really is. If it's not Cleveland, it's Akron, it's Columbus, it's Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. But also the other celebs of the political world come. Madeleine Albright was here last week. I mean, it just keeps on going. It's great.
Yeah,
Don't you like it?
Paul Ryan was here a couple weeks ago at a gun show in Cincinnati.
I heard you attended the gun show.
I did.
Yeah,
Undercover covert.
Yeah. So what happened at the gun show?
Well, it was really interesting. There were, you could test out different, not like shoot guns, but you can pick them up and, silent auction, bows and arrows, all these kinds of, hunting and trapping gear.
Mm-hmm.
So he was there. It was a fundraiser. It was very cool. What I found out, though, was that their version of nature conservation is a lot different than our version of nature conservation. So I learned something there. But yeah, so there were snuck in some banners.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you get kicked out?
And swiftly got kicked out once the banners were pulled up during Ryan's speech.
Good for you. I'm glad you.
Good times.
You're like, I've been kicked out of better places.
Right,
it's all good.
Right. It was all about corporate money, corporations as people and, all of that kind of stuff. So we just wanted to make sure that our message got out there. It did.
Well, we have a big show tonight, which we probably should get going to it.
Yeah.
We have the great Senator Sherrod Brown will be interviewed, and we'll have him on in a little bit. We have our dear friend, State Representative Nickie Antonio, and Sean Savoy, who is a radio talk show host and many things, explorer, all kinds of titles around him. But he made some big news back in August, and he had gay folks on his show, and he was basically taken off the air, and we'll get into that story in the second half hour. So, and I've been chatting with Sean. He's a really good guy, and him and his partner have been through a lot. So we'll talk about that, like I said.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And he's a, remarkable kind of family he came from, and just an interesting guy. But here we are. It's we have not, after not being on for a while, Nickie Antonio, who will be on a little bit, and we'll get to this, but she was a delegate at the convention. A lot of our friends were here in Cleveland, were delegates, and we got to watch that from Columbus, and that was exciting. And we were doing some work down there,
doing some youth activism work.
The only thing that sucked about being in the hotel is every time I wanted to stop the television so I could take a photo of our friends that were delegates, and I never was able to do it, but so we got those photos out and about. And I do want to mention some housekeeping stuff is Robin R. Hartz will not be here tonight, and we won't see her for a while, but Stevie Reese Desmond will be on next week
always a good time
as our celebrity host, so please tune in next week when she's on too. But this tonight, because we have such a full show, it's just you and I, Judith Pindell.
I know, but we've got some really exciting guests, so that's it. That's
all you're gonna say. But I have a question, Chris. You're really throwing me off. So Chris, the intern, is in the studio.
I know,
and
it's
he's
so weird.
And he's sitting there really almost oppressive. I'm a little scared of you right now.
He's taking notes and everything.
And he's all in black today with him. He's got a cat.
And he looks really serious, like he's grading us on this or something.
I'm concerned. I really am. I don't know what Chris is up to, but not the Chris intern, Chris the producer. I have no idea what he's up to right now.
Well, the green room's being occupied right now by recording. So
I see.
He's in there taking notes for the show. That's
wonderful. I appreciate that. I think. So tomorrow night
makes me nervous.
I know, me too. Focus on each other. That's all. So tomorrow night is the big debate. It will now be the VP's turn.
Is that tomorrow night?
That is
is tonight?
Thursday night. Tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. I thought it was tonight.
Yeah. So
I don't know what day it is.
Oh my goodness! Aren't you going to a debate party or anything?
Yeah.
I'm having one
at
in
my
living
house.
Room. Yeah, me too. My better half will be in bed, and I'll be sitting there yelling at the television or something. I don't know.
Right.
Depending on what our VP does, Joe Biden, and he's always an interesting character.
Uncle Joe!
So Paul Ryan and him will be going at it tomorrow night. So I look forward to it.
I am looking forward to it.
Especially
after...
After what?
The first presidential. I know we don't really want to talk about it, but it's going to be. I'm really excited for the next one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he's going to bring it. He has to. So
he better bring it because people are going to be very disappointed.
Obama!
Thank you for that, Chris. A gentleman who has obviously been with the president a lot lately is Senator Sherrod Brown. We actually interviewed him earlier today. We were not able to do it tonight because his schedule is so tight. So why don't we get to that interview and play that, and we'll get going. Hello, Senator Brown.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Thanks for calling in to Joust It Out and the MSC Radio Network. We know that you've obviously been very busy on this campaign trail. And how's it going?
Well, it's going well. I mean, in some ways, this wouldn't be a race if it weren't for the huge numbers about outside dollars. They've spent more against me, outside groups. We figure it's the oil industry. We figure it's Wall Street. They've spent $21 million in attack ads, more than any Senate race in the country. And I'm not whining about it. I'm just saying that's what politics has become, and that's why grassroots efforts like this show help us fight back and blunt those attacks, because we can't outspend them, we can out-organize them, and our message is clearer and stronger and more progressive, and that's the direction the country's going.
Yeah, and I mean, are you feeling that these attack ads are something that you've never even seen before in the sense of the intensity and certainly the expense of them?
Yeah, they're sort of record-setting in terms of the number of ads. They've run something like 35,000 different ads. They're record-setting, I guess, in the number of dollars, and they because these ads, nobody has to disclose who's actually doing them. There's just no accountability, and there's these groups like PolitiFact and FactCheck.org, these nonpartisan groups that have won Pulitzer Prizes and are fair-minded, and rate the truth, the veracity or lack of in political comments and ads and statements. Have just repeatedly said so many of these ads aren't true. But they don't care because you can't pinpoint who actually is buying the ad, who's actually spending the money. So there's no accountability. And that to me, is why Citizens United and all of this big money in politics is so damaging to our country, is that there's no accountability, and we think it's a handful of companies like Exxon, big Wall Street firms, and a handful of Sheldon Adelson and the Koch brothers who literally can spend tens or hundreds of millions of dollars each, and just want to buy a government.
Right. And, I want to ask you this. I was thinking about this the other day, and I grew up in the East Coast, and I remember more moderate Republicans. And, when I think about where we're at today, and I'm 43 years old, and I know in my time I've seen this evolution of the Republican Party. And, your opponent here in the state is a young man who certainly has his dollars and support behind him. But do you ever feel that with folks across the aisle in the Senate, and certainly the gentlemen that the senators are supposed to be, do you ever think that they ever just sit there and say, I can't believe we're putting this guy up against, say, Sherrod Brown or, someone else in the more moderate side of the party?
Well, they just, I think you're right. I mean, you said evolution. I might use the word devolution in the party I can't count the number of Republicans that come up to me and just say, I've had it with my party, because of their, just intense hostility to women's health, intense hostility to gay rights, intense hostility to sound science and the things that we as a nation have believed for so many years. And you mentioned East Coast. I mean, the Rockefeller and Cliff Case and Ed Brooke and some people in my part of the country. I mean, west of Ohio, but in Kansas, Senator Pearson and some of the congressmen and senators and congresswomen, few back then, that there really were moderates and you could work with. I still have lots of things I've been able to do with conservative Republicans, but just this driven sort of really nasty edge that too many of these Tea Party people have had. And I mean, that's why we need to beat them with grassroots, because the Tea Party will always have money. It will always have the Texas billionaire oil guys, because they've always been so far right. And they want no environmental rules. They want to eviscerate labor law. They want no taxes. They want to be able to do, because it's my business and I build, I can do whatever I want. So the way to beat that is grassroots. That's why I ask people to come to sherrodbrown.com, to my website, sign up and help us. We've had 500,000 signatures in opposition to Citizens United, for instance, and we're using that sherrodbrown.com. That sort of is kind of a way to fight back, not just this year, but long term. And I'm encouraging my colleagues to do that too, because the way progressive government wins is there are a lot more of us, and we have stronger feelings, and our values are American values, and moving forward. And that's why on all the issues that we are moving in the right direction on marriage equality. I mean, look at, I never preach patience, but what this progress we've had. When I voted against DOMA in 1990, whatever it was, 7. It was politically a bad vote in a conservative district I lived in. Now it's increasingly, people say, why not? That's what we ought to be doing. It's human rights. It's fairness. It's civil rights. And I think the country's moving in that direction in spite of all these billionaires trying to buy the government.
Well, Senator, I think that, you look at your endorsements, from everywhere, from the plain dealer to, obviously the LGBTQ community and unions and just the working folks of this state that are endorsing and supporting you. I think that when you talk about that, groundswell and certainly the grassroots movement, I think that that's really where, the battle is. And, I know that my colleague here, Judith Pindell, wanted to mention something about, obviously the war on women and stuff. But
Sure, yeah. So you mentioned the intensity against women's health, and first want to thank you for calling us on a Women's Wednesday. Yes. And there's been said that there's a war on women, and then there's the opposition saying, well, no, there's really not a war on women. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I don't care if we use the word war on women, but I do care what they're doing, and it's not just they are so hostile to Planned Parenthood. They also lie about this stuff. A Republican senator, a guy in leadership, said that 90% of Planned Parenthood's dollars or work or something is abortion, and it's the reverse of that. It's almost all of Planned Parenthood, not all, but the great preponderance of Planned Parenthood money goes to provide women's health care. Now, 3 million American women rely on Planned Parenthood for their preventive care, not just their birth control, but their primary care. And it's mostly not abortion. but they want to lie about it because that plays to their base. So this whole war on women, call it what you want, and I'm fine with that term, but the whole thing is it's also a war on the truth. And when they're going after women's health and they want to shut down, I mean, Mitt Romney wants to end any subsidies for Planned Parenthood. What is he saying to those 3 million women? Exactly. Well, sorry, you're part of the 47%. We don't care about you. I don't know what he's saying, but I do know it's hostile, and I do know that the right wing takes their calling or marching orders from Romney now. If he's going to try to eviscerate Planned Parenthood, they're just going to turn up the heat on it. And that's symptomatic of this whole of the issue of choice. And to me, any of the social issues that are about fair play. But they just have shown total disregard for when they're opposed to the Lily Ledbetter's coming in here next week to help us campaign. And, you know, they voted, so many of them voted against equal pay for women. And how do you not call that a war on women when they disregard women's health and they don't want to pay women for the same work that people of my gender get? And it's just, I mean, there's no explanation for it other than hostility. And I don't know why. You know, I asked the question when I saw some of these tapes of some of these, I mean, they're kind of right-wing nut jobs, some of these congressmen say stuff. When I see these tapes, first thing I always think is, did none of these guys have daughters? Right. I mean, I've always viewed women's health as a priority. But 30 years ago, I had my first daughter. I have 2 girls, and now with my second marriage to Connie, another daughter and a son and a daughter-in-law. But I couldn't imagine not thinking women's health is important when you have daughters. So I don't get these people. I don't understand them sometimes when they have these views.
Senator, on, you know, going back to some of the social issues, and, you know, obviously you have been a huge supporter of the LGBTQ community for a long time, both you and your wife, and thank you for that. And, you know, many of our listeners are part of the community. And I just wanted to, you know, hear your take on where we're at. I mean, obviously you talked a little about our progress we have made, which we have, but here in Ohio where people still can be fired from their job or, you know, kicked out of the apartment or, you know, for being in the LGBTQ community. What are your thoughts on what our next steps are or should be?
Well, my thoughts are a little bit like the economy. We're making progress. We don't want to turn back. The progress isn't fast enough. I use that example, and as I said, I'm straight, so I would never preach if as a white man, I never would preach to black people, you know, be patient on civil rights, or to women, be patient on women's rights, or to gay people to be patient on human rights that way. So, but I do marvel at how far we've come as a nation. You know, everything from bullying to end to marriage equality. And I know a number of couples in Ohio who have gay couples who have gone out of state to marry, and I know a number who said, I'm going to wait till Ohio passes it. Right. And I say to them, it's going to be sooner than we think, because I think this country's. I mean, you know, I know very few people under 40 that do anything but shrug their shoulders when you say, why shouldn't we have marriage equality? Of course you should. And so the world changes, and I think Republicans, in a political sense, Republicans got a problem. I mean, they're first of all, African Americans, they are long gone to them. Latinos are increasingly alienated from them, and young voters because of their views on a whole host of young people issues, from Stafford loans at universities to especially to gay rights and marriage equality. And when these Todd Aiken characters, and Todd Aiken might have sounded stupider than the average Tea Party Republican, but he votes the same as Paul Ryan and the other ones. And you know, he's a little more uncouth than Paul Ryan, but shake them up and one of them comes out and you get the same voting record. Right. So I think young voters are onto that, and that's their problem long term. And so some wiser Republicans' heads are going to say, wait a second, if we're this hostile to Latinos and immigration, and we're this hostile to young gay and lesbians and transgender people, are we ever going to win elections again in the next 20 years? We got to rethink this. And politics has a way of doing that. So that makes me even more optimistic that the haters in their party, over time, not this election, not next election, probably not the one after, but the haters in their party are going to be more and more isolated. And what's the other word I'm thinking of? Just to kind of not thrown out of the party, but become less and less relevant.
Senator, you know, with obviously you spent the day with President Obama yesterday in Columbus, and he was here just in Cleveland at CSU. And obviously, as an Ohioan, you're watching our state play out. I'm watching you on MSNBC and other networks, watching Tina
Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, just many, on all these shows, and Ohio's right in crosshairs. What are your thoughts on that? In the sense that, obviously now when anything happens in Ohio, national media is on it. Does it make you a little concerned in the sense that we're under the scrutiny that way, or is it something that you think is very good for Ohio and even the future?
Well, of course I'm concerned because I think it's a close election here, and understand I'm the only Democratic elected official in the state, so the state leans Republican. Obviously Democrats can win it. Our congressional delegation is, I think, 11-5 Republican, and so we got work to do. But I think the auto rescue, I think collective bargaining, I think Romney is just not a sympathetic character. I mean, he had a good debate last week. Okay,
right.
Great. And I hope he doesn't have another one. I hope the president has a better one next time, and I think he will. I mean, he's just ready to go. He's ready for the next. He's a competitive guy, and he's smart, very smart. And but we're going to win this state. And I mean, the cool thing about living in Ohio is, one, we get to live here. Second is we get to. It's not to sound arrogant, but we get to decide who the next president is, because I just can't imagine if the president wins Ohio, and I think he will, that I can't imagine that Romney can possibly find a path to the White House. So we're feeling good about it.
Well, a final question, because you have spent so much time with the president, and you're certainly a big ally of his, and we are so critical. From a personal side from you, what do you feel when you're with the man? I've never had the honor of meeting the president, and I know that you have many times, and certainly are probably a friend of his, I guess, to a point at this point. So, what are your thoughts on him as a human being?
I think he senses his place in history, and I think he realizes the responsibility on his shoulders. He knows that this election, I mean, it's hard to know. It's hard to get in the mind of a president of the United States. I mean, he looks at the world differently from anybody, and there's no way to understand what he does and goes through. And I knew him. I mean, I did not know him intimately, but knew him before he's president. Know him now, but I think he understands particularly how this election matters to so many people in this country. Where he came from working class parents, and not just racially, but where he came from in terms of basically a working class kid that got opportunity and was able to succeed. And he knows that path is blocked for far too many Americans, and he wants to open that path. And he thinks about the Supreme Court. I know he thinks about what happens if he loses the next 20 years in this country.
Oh,
so
my goodness, yeah.
He's ready to go on this next debate and ready to go to lead us. And I'm counting on him, and I think all of us are.
Well, Senator, we really appreciate you calling in, and I just want to let you know that we have put a link on our Jousted Out page on Links of the Roundtable to anyone to go to your campaign site, to donate, to support, to volunteer, to get involved, and our audience needs to do that. And Senator, you're a great man. We're honored to have you on the show, and just honored to have you as our senator.
I really appreciate that. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate both of you. Judith, thank you, too.
Thank you. Just amazing. He's incredible. We are so lucky to have him representing us from the state of Ohio, one of the most progressive legislators in the White House. I love how he is talking about. I love the fact that he's so optimistic still, that he's still in it for the long haul and really fighting, and how he's talking with his friends on the other side saying, you know what, I've had it with my party. And, he could so easily give up. Yeah. Some of our folks could give up because they've had it with the Republican Party, with the conservatives, but
I thought it was an interesting point that he made around people across the aisle that are said they're over the party too, as devout as Republican as they are, that going that deep.
We've seen it right here.
Hello, Nickie Antonio.
Hi, how are you?
State Representative Nickie Antonio is on the phone, and we just got done with our interview with Sherrod Brown, your good friend. By the way, you're co-endorsed person by the Plain Dealer. You have recently been endorsed by the Plain Dealer also. How are you?
That's right. I'm well. How are you?
Good. I know that you are, traveling to Columbus right now?
I am. So I'm sorry if it's noisy, but
That's all right. We wanted to just check in.
On my way.
We want to check in with you. Obviously, you've had a lot of things go on.
A representative's job is never done.
That's right. Always working.
So, Representative, you are, of course, an elected official, but a celebrity at this point in time as well. We saw you in the 40th anniversary issue of Ms. Magazine, which is huge. That's incredible. So they have you,
that was very cool.
Yeah, so it's their voter guide, and they have you talking about what's at stake for women voters. Do you have a minute to just kind of briefly say something about, I mean, this is a big election.
Yes. It was great. If anybody gets a chance to pick up the issue, look at it in the library. It really talks about especially the issues of women's health and how so many economic issues also affect women this election cycle. Healthcare is also an economic issue for so many people. And the issue also talked about, the article that I was quoted in really talked about how I expected to go to Columbus and work on creating jobs and increasing health care for people and education, and instead we dealt with a lot of reproductive choice issues.
Right.
And that was a real surprise to me and a disappointment in that I wanted to go there to really create policy that enhanced people's lives instead of turning back the clock on their rights. So it is a very important election.
And we are so, I mean, it's priceless that we have you there at the State House at this point in time. I know I've heard you say that before, that you were at the right place at the right time. And I think that really shows that, unfortunately, that's the way the State House went. But we had folks like you and your colleagues there to really support us.
And Nickie, one of the things, and I think the reason you got the plain dealer endorsement, is that people really thought you were a one-issue person going in as Ohio's first openly LGBT person in the State House, and instead you showed that you were not only there to help the LGBT community, but all citizens of Ohio, and work really hard across the aisle and ally with folks who people are probably surprised that who've become your allies in this process.
Right. I mean, it's important to reach across the aisle, to work with people on all kinds of issues. I serve on a health committee. I'm going to the manufacturing committee tomorrow morning. I mean, and this is about really policies that affect all Ohioans. And I'm there for the long haul to really be able to create some policies that'll get people working, that will get people an excellent education. I mean, that's what we really want to see.
Right. Well, Nickie, I know that you're traveling, but we wanted to get you on quick this show because, having Sherrod on and you on the same show got a lot of response from our friends out there. So I just,
Well, my biggest hope is that people vote early. Mm-hmm. It really makes a difference. And if you can drive your ballot down and hand it to somebody and make sure it got in, I think that's the best thing that you can do to make sure that your vote counts this election.
Mm-hmm. So vote early, don't vote often, right?
Right.
Of course,
right.
In my home,
be an informed voter.
And in my home state of Rhode Island, we still vote early and vote often.
Oh my God. Well, we're in Ohio, just once. Make it count.
Yes. All right, Nickie. Well, have a great trip, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Thanks. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Oh, our lovely Nickie Antonio.
Awesome.
She is. Well, we have to go on a break soon because when we come out, we're going to have Sean Savoy on the other side of this hour, and we're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Vote early.
friendly, and ready to serve. MorningShowCentral.com. Are you tired of all the overhyped advertisements for energy drinks and energy supplements?
Maybe skydiving from a suborbital spacecraft or jumping a snowmobile over 80 buses is not in your agenda.
Maybe you just want to make it through the day effectively. Whether it's work, school, or raising a family, life's demands can be overwhelming. When you need that extra kick in the butt to help get you going, try Cocaine Energy. You'll not find a more effective energy supplement. Cocaine Energy has higher caffeine content per ounce than any other energy supplement on the market. And it's safe. Worried about the side effects of so much caffeine? We got you covered. Cocaine is scientifically formulated to mitigate against the side effects normally associated with large doses of caffeine, such as the jitters and heart palpitations. So what are you waiting for? Try cocaine today, because life doesn't wait. Cocaine is available at local retailers and online at www.drinkcocaine.com. That's drinkcocaine.com. Once again, that's drinkcocaine.com. This product does not contain the drug cocaine. Duh. This product is not intended to be an alternative to an illicit street drug. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Not recommended for children, pregnant women, or people sensitive to caffeine. Check out Uncensored Net Noise every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here. Uncensored Net Noise on MorningShowCentral.com. Looking for reliable and affordable Shoutcast audio or video hosting? JWN Media offers complete Shoutcast hosting solutions for business or personal use. All plans come with full listener stats, custom web scripts for implementing your service into your existing website, full server control, super fast network, and huge bandwidth limits, a 99.5% uptime guarantee, and friendly, knowledgeable support personnel dedicated to making your hosting experience fun and easy. With plans starting at only $3 a month, you have no excuse not to get a server of your own. Plus, with the option to add auto DJ and on-demand services, you can be confident your station will be all it can be. Custom plans are also available at their website. Simply visit jwnmedia.com and click the Shoutcast hosting link to get started right now. If you live the lifestyle, then you should arrive in style. Lifestyle Limousine Service. Whether it's dinner for two, an evening at the winery, or a night out on the town, Lifestyle Limousine provides extraordinary service. Check them out on the web, lifestylelimousineservice.com. Reserve your ride now. 330-903-0508. 330-903-0508. Lifestyle Limousine Service. And make sure you tell them Morning Show Central Radio Network sent you. Heat 99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. Jumping from one web host to another can be frustrating. Finding a good web host can be unnerving for even the most experienced of web designers. That's why Uncensored Net Noise has chosen P99 Technologies as its web hosting supplier. Established in 1999, P99 Technologies has evolved into a first-class web hosting provider. Its 99.9% uptime rivals many in the industry. That's why they offer their 30-day guarantee, no questions asked. For more information, go to P99.com. P99 Technologies will help you get started with your web presence with honest and expert customer service. P99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. Having problems with your home computer or business PC? Looking to have some upgrade work completed on your computer? Have a special project in mind that may be too much for you to undertake alone? Time to call
Joe the Printer Guy!
Joe the Printer Guy offers a full-service hardware and software repair center at his facility to handle your PC, server, and networking needs. Let their professional service staff handle your computer needs. They offer expert service at an affordable price. Visit Joe the Printer Guy at 14035 Madison Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio. Online, joetheprinterguy.com, or give him a call at 216-651-3880. Joe the Printer Guy. If you're looking for the best in musical equipment, recording gear, sound reinforcement, and more, Guitar Center has you covered. Guitar Center, located at 26635 Brook Park Road in North Olmsted, has the tools of your trade with the largest selection of music and sound gear in the area. They cater to your musical needs and have the knowledge to help you out. Guitar Center in North Olmsted. MorningShowCentral.com uses them. You should too. Need to know more? Go to GuitarCenter.com. You're listening to MSC Radio Network, and like anything else on the internet, it runs on computers. Lots of computers. And you know, when you're dealing with computers, hard drives sometimes crash. That happened here at MSC. And you know what saved them? Rectiphy backup software. Don't believe us? Well, ask yourself this question. Are you backed up? Probably not. So don't be that guy and wait till it's too late. MSC did their research and tried tons of different backup programs and chose Rectiphy backup software. You know, peace of mind is priceless, and Rectiphy can give you and your computer system that peace of mind. Find out more at rectiphy.com. That's RECTIPHY.com. Hey, Sam. Hey, excuse me. Am I interrupting nap time? In this economy, it was hard to get this job. Unfortunately, it's even harder to keep it. And there's only so much a coffee machine can do.
Wakey, wakey. Hello.
You don't need yet another expensive trip to the corporate coffee shop. You need the tastiest, most effective energy shot on the market.
Are you fucking kidding me?
The Cocaine Energy Shot is an energy supplement with a whopping 280 milligrams of caffeine in each sugar-free, zero-calorie 2-ounce dose, delivering consistent all-day energy without causing the palpitations and jitters that can ruin your day. It's delicious, too.
When you wake up, you're fired. Sweet dreams, idiot. Why did I even hire this guy in the first place? What? What's this wrong? Oh, man. What? Huh? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Whatever.
The new Cocaine Energy Shot. Sure, it's got a naughty name, but this little liquid miracle will beat out the competition to keep you at your best. Ask for it by name at your local retailer. If they don't carry it, demand that they do.
Let's go!
Or buy online at drinkcocaine.com. That's drinkcocaine.com. One more time, that's drinkcocaine.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Not recommended for pregnant women, children, or people sensitive to caffeine.
From the Cocaine Energy Supplement Studio, you're listening
to Morning Show Central Radio Network.
This is Joust It Out, and we're back.
We're back.
I'm G, and that's Judith.
We're on cocaine energy drink.
Judith's very excited now. The second half hour has hit us. You know what I want to say about the first half hour? Did you notice my screw up when I called Nina Turner?
Tina Turner. And I didn't put the two and two together. I'm like, what are you talking about?
And for folks who are not from Ohio, Nina Turner is a very outspoken state senator here who is awesome.
Oh, she is incredible. Firecracker.
She's a firecracker.
Oh, my gosh.
And she's been on the Ed Show, like, over the last month, like, every week, and she's hysterical. But I can't believe I called her Tina Turner.
We got to get her on the show, man.
I noticed something else, too.
What was that?
Toward the end of the interview.
Yeah.
He I think he kind of got the names mixed up.
Why?
Well, he didn't say G.
No, he said Gareth.
Did he say? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said my real name.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Not
my alias.
Your government name.
Your government name.
My government name. So, Chris, we have to get to Sean Savoy and get him on here. We're going to talk with him, and he has a fascinating story. And he was silenced, and he came back kicking. And he is no longer silenced. And not that he probably was via the internet and other things, but so hopefully we get Sean Savoy on here. Chris? Okay, you work on that. I know Sean's waiting, I believe. Unless he heard the first half hour and said,
I know,
and
he's like, oh, man, what did I sign up for?
I'm not doing that show. No way. Yeah, let them hang on their own. Let's see. I think we got
Service for the number you have dialed has not been established.
What? Chris, are you dialing the right number?
Let's say it live over the air.
You keep on talking. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
And it was really interesting.
Did I screw up?
I don't know, but
Go ahead.
I love the fact that Senator Brown also talked about Citizens United, because that was one of the things that I was talking about earlier that we had done at the Paul Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Service for the number you have dialed has not been established.
What? He gave you a dummy number.
No.
Did he write it on a napkin?
No.
Did it start with 555?
You're so ridiculous. No, I've talked to Sean several times, and of course, this is not possible. Here you go, Chris. Unless somebody else wrote it down wrong. Take that. Oh.
See, this is what happens when we take a break. And then we come back and we're just like all discombobulated.
Is it correct? Okay. Well, we don't know. Sean, I hope you're out there somewhere. And if you know, you want to give us a call into the station at 888-6... I forget my own number now. 668-0742. Again, 888...
668
0742. I'm all a mess now. And and please nobody else call because we want Sean to call in. That's the only person we want.
Nobody else call.
How would that happen?
Yeah.
Well, you know what happens? Dad calls.
Oh.
We don't want Dad to call.
We haven't heard from him in a while.
I know. Do you think that he,
maybe he really honestly did listen to the first half and was like, I am out of here.
Is that possible?
I don't know. Sean, where are you? And I was still looking forward to this. I mean, it really is an incredible story. I mean, this guy, and he's young,
Yeah.
And he's all of these
Younger
experiences, all of these experiences that he's had, and now this, national spotlight.
Right, because of basically being silenced, because I don't want to tell the story because maybe there's just a glitch.
We don't want to tell the end of the story.
Well, Chris, let's move along because this just is what happens, and we're going to just move on.
What's going on in the world?
See, this is the true test, Judith Pindell. We are going to take this show to a whole new level. And how that's going to be is you need to take your top off. No, I'm only kidding. That's not what we're doing. So here's what, in the LGBTQ community that has been going on is a lot of things because obviously we have a presidential election, things heat up, people get angry, people are pitted against each other, and here in Ohio that some hate crimes have been happening. We know that things leading up to the election in the last couple of months, we know that the rhetoric is
intensifying.
It is.
To violence levels.
Mm-hmm. The guys that we spoke about, Shane May and
from the Chagrin Falls Natatorium.
They actually had a protest against Ryan yesterday. Ryan was in town. Go ahead.
Mitt Romney. It was Mitt.
No, Paul Ryan was there.
Oh, was it?
Oh, no, it was Mitt Romney. Sorry.
It was Mitt Romney. Because remember, the president and the presidential candidate, they've all been through here. That's the thing. We can't keep track of who is coming through Ohio every other day. But no, it was Mitt Romney. There was an awesome sign. Remember, we saw it. There was an awesome sign. It said, line bag of Mitt.
Oh, I know.
I love that sign.
I do want to say this. We've talked about Ohio, and one of the things that happens is I think the actual voters of this state are numb from it. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting that when I stopped at that motorcade, so there was a very select group of cars. There's probably about 30 cars that were all stuck off the off-ramp as waiting for the motorcade to come by. And this woman comes up, she gets out of her car. She's all upset that we're now stuck in traffic. She has her kids. She says, I'm going to an event. And she goes, why are we stopped here? And I turn to her and I say, well, the president's motorcade is coming through. And she puts her hands on her hips. She goes, well, I guess I'll have to wait. And now any other place in the nation,
people would be in awe. They would be taking their phones and their cameras out.
The president's coming through. Well, go take photos.
Not for us now, it's just an annoyance, a nuisance.
Right.
All of the commercials, we get to see all of the commercials. We get to see commercials that don't air in other states. We get to see commercials before they go into other states. Right. And I say get to, mm-hmm. But again, it's a nuisance almost.
It really is.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello, Sean.
Yes, hello.
Sean?
Thank you. Yes, this is Sean.
Hi, this is G and Judith from Joust It Out. We lost you for a little bit there.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening. We didn't have reception. You hear us now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. I think we'll just go on with it. If we lose you again, we'll just make our way through. So can you hear us?
I think there's something wrong with the line.
Okay. Well, if you want to, do you feel like you can do this right now?
Oh, no, we're fine.
Okay, great. Then
you can hear us?
We can hear you. Chris, work on that so we can hear a little better, and we're going to go ahead. So, Sean, you in August have had kind of a life-altering event. You were doing your thing, and, in Nevada on the air. And why don't you go into what happened?
Yeah, well, I had a radio show called House of Savoy. In fact, I still have it, but I had a show that was airing locally here in the Reno, Nevada area, public affairs program, and it was airing on the Fox News affiliate, which was 99.1 FM, and the show was being produced by an independent producer called Nevada Matters Media, and I was on for about a year every week on Sundays, and I decided to do a show on civil rights, equal rights for LGBT community, and I had a guest on named Will Cobb out of Dallas, Texas. He phoned in, and we did a great show, I thought, on the Chick-fil-A incident that was happening at the time. So this was in August, and we had a really nice conversation about his take on marriage equality and other issues. And after the station owner's son heard the show, the station owner immediately called my producer and then had me taken off the air.
Wow. And at that point, so you're told to get off the air, you get off the air, and how long was it before you started putting your own things in play?
Well, what happened, I was actually in Las Vegas with my partner at the time on a business trip, and I got the call from my producer, Mr. Eddie Floyd, here in Reno. And what then ended up happening was it took me about, I think, 30 seconds to decide that I couldn't stand by and let that happen, not only because of the ethical violations in terms of media and journalism, but also the discrimination against my guest, who was openly out during the interview, and we were talking openly and candidly about that, about his take on things. And so I created a press release, and I got in touch with the people at GLAAD, Mr. Ross Murray over there, and then he kind of tweaked the press release, and then he helped me get that out, and then the story hit, and it went to LGBTQ Nation and a lot of other outlets, including the Advocate and the Civil Rights Movement, the New Civil Rights Movement, and many others.
So at that point, when did your personal story end up playing out? Because really, you're talking about your guest, but when did you cross over into the story?
Well, exactly. I was not out professionally as a gay man any time up to and during the show. I never discussed myself. Even the people, my producer, did not know. And the station owner, whom I really had only met maybe for 30 seconds one day, months and months before, did not know. I began my personal professional coming out in January of this year. I met somebody and began a relationship. In fact, he's here right now. His name is Sean Carey, and he's here on, all available. Yeah, we're two Seans. It's pretty amusing.
So
I started this relationship with him, and then slowly, it took me several months to come out to my family and certain very close friends, but I had not come out to my own professional community at all, and I certainly had not come out on the air. So what happened was, as a result of this discriminatory act against my show, I spoke with many people, including GLAAD and other people around in my circle, including my partner, Sean, and I determined that I needed to include in my story the fact that I am a gay man.
Wow. That is a transformation. And you're 40 years old, correct?
Yes, I just turned 40 on this last Sunday, October 7th.
So in this, process in your life, certainly in doing what you're doing, because you also do public speaking, you're a minister in a church, correct?
Yes, I've been involved in my spiritual community since I was very, very young. I was born into it, and I did become ordained, and I'm a spiritual educator. I teach people all over the world. We have students by distance learning and also in residency in Reno, Nevada. And so I teach, I speak at different venues, and I also am on the radio with my public affairs show, which has now been picked up by Reno's progressive station.
Congratulations on that, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It took about a month. It was kind of touch and go there. but my producer stood by me, and interestingly, he's known as a conservative talk show host himself, but he believes in branching out, and so he stood behind my product, and so the show is picked up on 12:30 a.m., and we are every Saturday at 10 a.m. in the morning here in Reno, and but so I do the radio. I also write, and I'm an administrator for our organization. We have several branches. We have a hot springs here in Reno, Nevada that we run as well. And like I said, I've also been an explorer. My father, Gene Savoy Sr., was kind of a famous explorer of South America. Many people thought he was the prototype for Indiana Jones. He was kind of known as that. And I explored with him during his lifetime up until he passed away for over 20 years. And I've continued that work on my own. And so I also explore, and I've been in, a lot of people think this is the first time I've been in the media. It's not the case. I've been in the media before, but never as a gay man. Right. I've been in the media as an explorer and discoverer of lost cities.
And Sean, your your spiritual community that you're from, what is their take on the LGBT community, and what is their stand?
Well, fortunately, there are members of our community and our order, our religious order, who are gay, and so we have no discriminatory practice within our own teachings, thank goodness. But I was still quite reticent to make any announcements myself because I've grown up with many of these people, and not that I feared that they wouldn't be accepting, but I just didn't know how quite to put it. I kind of was afraid that maybe I wouldn't have the same authority or the same voice, that people would maybe look at me differently, and not only within my own community, but as a spiritual leader and teacher, I was concerned about that. But it's turned out that coming out has been the best thing I think I could have done.
So I have to ask, in this journey of yours, has there been other times where you almost came out, or that there were things in your life that said, you know what, I just want to do this now, or even in not only in your religious community, but just even on the air with all the social issues that happen in the world? Have you ever been at that brink before?
Yes, I've thought about it a lot in my lifetime. I've been out, like I said, beginning this year, openly, in a private situation, and then now publicly. But I've been struggling with my own sexuality for many years. And after ending a long-term relationship with a woman that I thought would become my wife, at one point a couple years ago, I kind of went through a couple years of soul-searching and transition. And then in January of this year, I became reacquainted with Sean Carey, and I had met him before socially, but something happened, and our relationship just happened. And so I didn't think that it was possible for me not to be real, and I didn't want him to feel like I was hiding.
So Sean Carey, now he has an interesting piece in this too, because he works in the industry, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So Sean, tell us a little about that and how that played out for you when all this happened with the other Sean.
It's actually been quite interesting because I'm the vice president of the media company that produces Sean Savoy's radio show. And so I found myself in a rather interesting predicament because of that. However, it actually worked out fine because we are a pretty close-knit team, and we stand behind our products first and foremost. And when we were meeting about that, that's the direction we decided to take, is that we stood behind Sean's show, and my coworkers are aware of my relationship with Sean. They are now, especially, but prior to that, they had suspected, and everything has worked out. Ultimately, in the long run, everything has worked out very, very well.
Well, Sean, you put a different meaning on standing behind your product. I have that.
Sorry, you're breaking up there a little bit there.
Never mind.
Savoy again.
That's all right. I made a sad.
To add one last thing, if I may.
Go ahead.
And that is, I went to my producer straight away after I got back from Las Vegas in August, and I told him that I was not going to take this lying down, and that I was intending to put out a press release and bring attention to this discrimination because as an advocate for equal rights, as an advocate for human rights and human spiritual rights, I could not do something. And at the time, he did not know I was gay, and he did not know that until the press release came out. I felt that I didn't want to tell him that I was gay to change his opinion about what I was going to do. I wanted to handle it from the professional side of things.
Right.
But Sean Carey did mention that some of the coworkers suspected, one in particular, one that we both work with closely knew, but the other people in the studio may have suspected, but no one knew for sure.
Wow. Well, you know, I know obviously we kind of lost some of our time of our show, and I definitely want to have both of you back on again in the future, and maybe we can work together. But, you know, first of all, I want to commend you and taking this on, and certainly in such a big way, and putting yourself out there. And I welcome you to our community of advocates and activists that have been doing this work for quite some time, and we really appreciate you doing what you're doing. And yeah, I'm sure for Nevadans, it gives a whole new perspective on it.
Thank you so much, Gareth. I really appreciate, and so does Sean, being on the show. Anything that I can do or we can do to help support the community is very important to both of us. To me, I know especially. And, you know, 10 months ago or 8 months ago or whatever, I would have had a hard time saying that I was gay in public.
Wow.
Now you could just, right before the Congress of the United States, I'd have no problem saying so. And, you know, I do have a current essay on the Huffington Post about my experience. I'll be blogging there some more.
Awesome.
And I have my own website, SeanSavoy.com. If people are interested, they can go there, and I'll keep them posted.
Sure. And we actually put your link on the links of the roundtable on the Jousted Out website also, and folks can go there and click on there, and it'll take them right there.
Thank you so much. And Sean also is a blogger. He talks more politics. SeanCarey.com, and both our names are spelled the same, S-E-A-N, like Sean Connery.
All
so
right.
SeanSavoy.com and SeanCarey.com, and we're happy to take questions or help people out or answer any kind of interest that people have about our personal experience or our professional work.
Great, guys, and we'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you, Gareth. I look forward to talking with you again soon on the air.
All right, bye-bye. Yep, bye-bye. Oh, so sorry that we didn't get more time with them, you know, the right way, but I think it worked out well. I mean,
it is really inspirational. It's just it's so interesting, you know, to hear other people's take on their personal journey, you know. Folks our straight friends, you know, don't have these kinds of stories to talk about. Well, when I decided, or, you know, like, but he really had to. What am I doing?
Flip over. Yeah, no, go ahead. So, you know, I agree with you, Judith, and it really is a situation where, you know, the man not only came out and worked, but he had to deal with his whole family and his loved ones around the issue also. So it wasn't that simple. I mean, it wasn't just a work discrimination case. It was, okay, now I'm going to peel this off and deal with my whole world.
And this is someone, think about it, this is someone who does have a big support system around them,
right.
You know, and is, you know, was set professionally and really had resources around him, and he still felt that he couldn't come out. And so I think that really says a lot.
That's a great point, because think about all the folks who we know and folks who do not have that kind of support system or the resources or someone to even talk to about this. And that's where we watch this going down in a very bad way.
And I really want to keep in touch with them to kind of see where they're going with their activism. You know, we've talked about the different states where folks can unfortunately be fired simply because they're gay and all those kinds of things. So it'll be really interesting to see how we can move this forward with this. So,
well, you know, Judith, it's been a little intense show between all these interviews. So I think it's a little levity right now. And let's play this on our going out. If she can push the button. We've had more technical issues, but, you know, it's what it is. Ah, yes.
She hold me.
Okay.
Son of a gun. You walked into the primaries like your victory would be a lot. You had everything a guy could want, but president you were not. You saw weakness in Obamacare. Your idea, but who would dare challenge a man who has all of the money, and you're so vain. You think that you can buy the White House. You're so vain. You think that you can buy the White House, White House, White House. You sauntered into Boston, Mass, to join the privileged class. You made your dough through the LBO and fired people en masse. And when asked about the jobs destroyed, you deftly took a pass, and you just said you were proud of your money, and you're so vain. You think you can avoid all your taxes. You're so vain. You think you can avoid all your taxes, taxes, taxes. Deep in your heart, you knew you were the chosen, and you're so vain. You like to make your companies bankrupt. You're so vain. You like to make your companies bankrupt, bankrupt, bankrupt. Well, of course you drive American. What other way would it be? Your wife, she has 2 Cadillacs. Soon it will be 3. And if you don't win the House of White, you'll definitely have a fright, 'cause you couldn't buy it with all of your money, and you're so vain. You think that you can buy the White House. You're so vain. You think that you can buy the White House, White House, White House. You're so vain. You can't afford all your taxes. You're so vain. All your taxes. 'Cause you're
Well, this is Joust It Out, and we thank all of our wonderful guests tonight: Sherrod Brown, Nickie Antonio, Sean Savoy, and the other Sean. And we'll be back next week. Have a great week, and go vote early. Vote early, everyone. Vote early.